Let's start with your reading, Capricorn. Today, we are going to look into your recent past, current energies, and near future. And then we will immediately clarify in order to find out more details about your messages. Now, let's begin right away with your reading. Okay, there's a lot going on here for you, and I can tell especially with the main energy that you are going through a lot, Capricorn. The main energy for the reading today is the Three of Swords. And right here we see how complicated this current situation might be for you. There is a need to try to talk about this situation as if it wasn't that bad, as if it wasn't that hurtful. You're definitely trying to internalize a lot of this pain, but you know deep down that this is something that will require some work in order to be healed, in order to be fixed. You do not want it to be a blocker. You do not want it to be a setback. And so you end up potentially not even looking into it because you're afraid that it's going to set you back, that it's going to make you feel stuck. But there is something very, very important here that you need to look into. And within that element, you'll have the key to finally move on and to finally find whatever it is that you're now looking for. So, first of all, in the recent past, you've seen this coming. You have. We have the Crow and the Shore. These two cards are talking about an event that really changed it all for you. Right here, we see a warning. We see that there was something in the situation that you started picking up on, and you thought to yourself, I don't think that I know everything that is going on here. There is something that is forming around me. It's invisible. I cannot see it yet, but I can feel it. Your intuition was speaking loud and clear to you. And we see with the Shore, also known as the Tower, you have experienced that moment in which everything suddenly changed. Everything was put into a position where it had to be rebuilt. And these moments are never easy, but they're necessary. They're necessary because they always take you to the next level. They always take you to the next stage in life. All you need to do is survive them and learn what you need to learn from them. What was the lesson behind the situation? We will look into it when we come back to this. In the present, current energies, Ace of Wands and the Vessel. Very easy to read. This message really talks about you wanting to start anew, wanting to find that passion again, that spark that makes you get out of bed in the morning, that makes you dream, that makes you want to go places. Right here, we see that you're really trying to understand how to visualize this situation in a way that will take you further, that will take you in the future, instead of taking you back into the past. It's not easy, but you're a fighter, Capricorn. We see it right here. You're not sitting there crying or just trying to feel sorry for yourself. You are looking at this situation. You're saying, all right, what do I need to do in order to overcome this? I know that I got it. I might be hurt, but I'm not out, and I'm not going to be. So we will look into this and we will see if maybe there is something you should know right now that will help you to arriving to your next step, to your next phase. As far as next phases goes, in the near future, we have Life on Earth and Ace of Cups. There is something very, very beautiful that it's going to happen here. There is a new beginning, a very emotional new beginning, in fact, that will happen as soon as you reconnect to your own element. You are an earth sign, and you need to go back to that element in order to see how your life is going to shape up next. There's a beautiful surprise, but it's not going to manifest until you align with yourself once again. When things like this happen, when events like these happen, it's always very complicated to stay true to who you are and who you want to be. But this is your main task right now. We'll see where it's going to take you. Let's start clarifying, and let's begin with your recent past. Eight of Cups, death, sacrifice. It feels like right here, someone has just moved on, or they put you in the position where you had to move on. You had to walk away from this if you had any self-respect at all. The Eight of Cups is a card that invites you to ask yourself a question. Is this connection, is this situation still making me happy? Is this where I can find happiness in the present and in the future? Overall, you started looking around and you started realizing that for this person, for this connection, you were sacrificing a lot of things. You were sacrificing a lot of yourself. And eventually you end up losing yourself in this, undermining your own needs and your own goals because you wanted this connection to work out. And so right here, we see that eventually you had to walk away from this. And that is definitely one of the hardest thing you had to do in your life. We see how this death energy coming in the middle of these two cards is something that you tried to resist for the longest time. But eventually, Capricorns always become very practical about things. And there is a moment where you have been honest to yourself and you said, you know what? All the signs are pointing in this direction. Everything is telling me that this has to end, at least for now. I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm not going to fight this fight alone. And so you went with the flow and you let this happen. You felt it was coming. You tried to fix it before it was going to happen. It didn't work out, and eventually you walked away. Again, one of the hardest things you had to do, but I'm glad to see that you had that self-respect and that you decided to put yourself first no matter how much you love the other person. Now, where is that taking you? Where is this taking you in the present? Let's clarify the current energies. You know, you are definitely trying to find a balance in between being practical about things and making plans for the future, and instead dreaming, building these expectations around things that maybe don't even exist yet. What I see right here is that you're definitely trying to rebuild yourself from scratch. There is so much that you gave to this connection, so much hope, so much love. And eventually you realize that nothing was left for you. And once you moved on from this, you had to rebuild everything. And that's what you're doing right now. You're trying to make a plan. You're trying to overall create or understand what your vision is at this point. And with the pelican right here, you're just trying to find the key that will take you to the next level. It's not easy, but with this card right here, you know that there is something you need to look into. This card talks about you able to get to the next step and able to find happiness again just by solving the issue. You cannot walk away from this. This card is reminding you that the only way out is through. And right here we see that you're trying to fight it. You're trying to protect yourself and not look into that Three of Swords, as we were saying at first. I'm a Capricorn myself. I completely understand it. When something hurts, I would rather ignore it and wait it out. And eventually it will go away, right? That's what we think. But it doesn't always go away. And sometimes the only thing you can do is looking into it in order for it to dissolve in thin air and just really completely disappear from your life. I know it's hard, 10 of Swords, I know. But this is definitely key for whatever comes next. What is coming next? Let's clarify the near future. What? I don't know how I feel about this energy. We have the Six of Cups, Three of Cups, and Ten of Cups. So plenty of cups, plenty of emotional energy, and the spirit plane right here. There is something that is going to happen, which to you will not make sense at all. In fact, I understand why these cards didn't make sense for me either. This is something that is happening underneath the surface on a spiritual plane, and it's actually preparing for something much bigger to happen very soon for you. We see how Six of Cups, someone is starting to miss you, Capricorn. Six of Cups obviously talks about someone who's feeling very nostalgic, who is thinking about past memories as if they were the only way for them to be happy today in the present. And this is something that they are realizing day after day, and something they cannot escape. Three of Cups and Ten of Cups. The Three of Cups talks about reconciliation, talks about a reunion. And often this reunion is not planned for. It's as if on the spiritual plane, underneath the surface, something was conspiring for you to look into this, for you to maybe see this person once again, or to talk to them once again. Capricorn, I completely understand you don't want to, because you are afraid of that pain that inevitably it's going to resurface. I completely understand that. But there is something about that potential conversation, that potential encounter, which is definitely going to help you get out of the situation and get to the next step, where you can really find that happiness that you are clearly looking for right now. Happiness, balance, and abundance. There is something right here that you cannot ignore, something you cannot avoid, and also something that can be understood just in hindsight. If you try to explain it now, you won't be able to. But once you go through it, and once you get to the key of the situation, you will be able to look back and say, now I understand why this happened. It placed me on this other trajectory, that now it's taking me to happiness, that it's taking me where I belong and where I want to be. There is so much more that we need to look into here, Capricorn. But for now, suffice it to say that this situation from the past is about to resurface for reasons that we'll have to find out. And so let's do that next. Let's look into what this encounter will be about, potentially what this conversation will be about, and let's see how it's going to change your path from this moment forward. Let's keep going with your reading, Capricorn, and let's also see what else you should expect in the next few months. If you want to dive deeper into the messages with me, just follow me in the extended reading link below in the description box. Also, Capricorn, don't forget that every single week I randomly select viewers who have watched the extended video to offer them a 100% free personal live 45-minute reading. I send out emails every Monday morning. Make sure to check out your spam folder as well. Now, stay tuned for the extended preview coming right up after this. Welcome back to your extended reading, Capricorn. The bridging energy taking us from this current situation to the incoming events. The Two of Wands. Right here, we see someone who's about to do something very, very unexpected. The Two of Wands talks about getting out of your comfort zone and do something that you haven't done before, you haven't said before, saying something you haven't said before. And this is not you, Capricorn. This is exactly what we were talking about just a few minutes ago. Someone who's going to really put themselves in a position where they have to do this, they have to tell you this. They're currently preparing for action. They're planning this. They're gathering the strength. And then eventually this is going to happen. And at that point, there will be decisions to make. The Two of Wands overall, it's good energy because it does talk about long-term goals, setting up expectations. But at the same time, how much of this you should keep in your life for your future? Is this just part of closure? Is this just part of understanding why something has happened so that you can move forward without that baggage? Or is this still meant to be alive and to grow? Let's look into it. We definitely have a lot to look into. So first of all, let's clarify this Two of Wands and also, again, this Ten of Cups. I want to see what this conversation is going to be. We see also with this card, Life on Earth, that someone feels the need to hug you, to be right next to you, to feel your physical presence. And it's going to happen. This is not even a message coming in. This is actually someone right there, right next to you. Let's see what this is going to be about. Nine of Wands, Seven of Wands, Death, Rebirth. Oh, okay. Well, I am glad to see the type of clarity that this person is bringing into the picture. And I'm starting to see why this conversation, this revelation, it's going to take you to the next level. And it's going to make you see something that you haven't seen up to this point when it comes to this situation. First of all, we see with this Emperor.